Well, this is awkward. We have a TNA show. That's not a TNA show. Hello, everybody. You didn't expect a video from me since this was the best of TNA, which I'm actually quite surprised this actually happened. Let's put this in perspective, guys. And I am going to do somewhat of a review here. I am. Not fully of the matches, but what the situation is here. We are now... Come on. Oh, yeah, it's working. It's January 4th, 2024, and we get the best of TNA. You want to hear this again? Just in case there's a lot of people that do watch me just to get a recap, and then they do basically to look for highlights on TNA's YouTube channel. There are none. What do we get? We got mainly old matches from TNA. And then we got announcements for what they're going to be doing after the 13th. And particularly, I think I got a shot of it. It's going to be in my face. Probably the only one I'm going to put in there. A QR code. Usually I don't use QR codes. I don't think I've ever actually used one. Have I? I think maybe once I did a QR code. But this QR code is going to lead to their new TNA Plus app. Which, and not taking anything away from what they showed on Access TV. This QR code is going to lead to the app, which they've stated openly that if you want to see any of the new episodes of TNA Wrestling Impact, instead of just TNA, it's TNA Impact, you have to watch the app. They made it clear it's going to be $9.99 a month. What does that mean exactly? If you're watching them on Access TV, does that mean you're just going to get the stuff earlier than everyone else? Because maybe Access TV is going to be showing a week later? Because if that's what's going to happen, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be watching Access TV and I'll be watching the content a week later. That's what I'm going to do. Because let's make it clear, not everyone can afford the app. Or maybe if they're still doing YouTube's, what is it? I forgot what they call the insiders. If they're still doing the now TNA insiders, because it's going to be hard to know if that's going to be it. You're going to have to pay, if it is $1, you can still do that. Or you're going to have to do $9.99 a month. That's what they've said. Which kind of, what was the point of doing Impact Plus? The only thing you had to do was transition everyone that's already on Impact to TNA. And you make it clear for all members already on Impact Plus, your transition to TNA. Maybe that is going to happen. But if they're not, you have to re-sign to TNA Plus if you're not going to be transferred. Which I believe that's what they'll do for many people who are still paying $9.99 anyway. Or what is it, $4.99 or $9.99? I can't remember. But essentially speaking, that's what's going to be. This is what we got next to the matches, and one person showed up next to Matthew Winrall, next to Tom Finnegan. We got Eric Young talking about when he first came in. We didn't get Gail Kim. We didn't get anyone else, just Eric Young. This is what we got. And then we got the matches. Now, before I get started talking about the matches, not how they went, but just saying that they were there. Because if you want to see these matches, I'm sure on the YouTube channel, they're there. I'm just going to talk about them. But before we get started, I want to say this. There's going to be people. It's going to be split. There's not going to be like one, the other, and in between. I think they're going to be split. Because this is what's going to happen. You're going to have people who either have not seen Impact turn to TNA. They just realized it. They're the new ones. They're going to be people who have been watching Impact that came in when Impact started. And they're now transitioning to TNA. And then you're going to have the diehard TNA fans who either left, then came back because of this, or have been watching through Impact to go back to TNA. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to have some of those people, either the new people, which are not going to have a problem with this, Because, like Chi-Town Smart, Jesse from Off the Scripts, JD's show, I mean, he works with JD. He's his friend. He loves him. And I'm hoping Jesse gets better because he kind of relapsed. He wasn't feeling well. He has a disease. If you don't know, he does have a disease which messes with his body, and he can relapse periodically. It can happen. I hope he gets better. But when Jesse comes back, and I'm sure he has either the app or maybe the Insider, if it's still there, he'll talk about it. But if Jesse was able to watch, he'll be watching it on the app. So for him, if he hadn't seen the original TNA, this will be something new for him. And for other people who are brand new, who came in near the end of Impact, this is something new they never did watch, possibly. So you're going to have people who are like Jesse, who've never seen the product, and people who watched Impact, but never watched the TNA brand when it was, will see this. And then here's the other side, where there's going to be people that's going to say, WWE just went back on the air. AEW just went back on the air. Either taped or live. And what are we getting here? We got another tape session from TNA now. They're not Impact now. They're calling themselves TNA. They got the new banner. If you go to the TNA website, it is TNA now. It's not Impact. I thought they were going to wait until after Hard to Kill and they're going to transition from there. No. Beginning of the year, they're TNA. And there's no content. This is going to be for those who are now Impact fans that are transitioning TNA. They're waiting for a brand new episode that leads into Hard to Kill and there's nothing there. Then you got fans that came back because they went back to TNA. They're going to be seeing this and there's nothing there. They're not going to be happy. There's going to be some people that's going to be kind of pissed. There's a friend of mine, well, you know who you are, who loves Johnny Swinger, who loves his comedy. There ain't nothing there. You probably are going to tune into this video thinking, oh, TNA is now here. I wonder what they're going to do with Johnny Swinger. We don't know. And they're making it very clear, possibly very clear, that Access TV will not get the immediate content because they made it very clear that if you want to see the first episodes of TNA, you're going to have to see it on the app. We already know they have a streaming service. I don't know how long Access is going to watch them. If you want to see TNA, you're going to have to see the app or the alternative. I'm not saying what it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. The alternative way of seeing TNA, if anyone's able to do that and is willing to, alternative. That's the only other way you're going to see it. So I'm surprised. I'm quite surprised that they're doing this. This is now going to be when? When did we first get the recordings? I believe the first true recordings were, was it the 22nd? No. I believe it was the 15th of December. If I'm right. I can't remember. You guys can tell me below when they started showing content of just Impact pay-per-views. Yeah, I think it was beginning the 5th. It was the 14th. I'm sorry, not the 15th. The 14th. Because they had one more show and that was it. That was Final Resolution. I think that was on the 8th. Yes, that was on the 8th. Final Resolution. And the 14th is when they started showing replays of Impact. The best of Impact. The 14th, the 21st, and the I'm looking at my calendar and trying to remember. The 28th. 3 weeks of Impact, the best of. And now, we get another one. The best of TNA. Does that mean we're going to have the best of TNA next week? I don't know. Let's move on. First, the first match they were willing to show was one of the very first matches. I never saw the first match of TNA because if anyone knows me, I didn't really have cable at the time back in 2002 or 3, and I didn't have the money to actually pay for any pay-per-views. I was looking at videotapes. Yes, I had videotapes. Then I went to DVDs, and that's how I learned about TNA, through 2 DVDs. I had Genesis 2005 or 6. No, 2007. Genesis 2007 and Lockdown. I can't remember which one, but I got Lockdown. That's when it was around 2009 or 10 when I got that one. But the first one was Genesis 2007. I got that in 2009. Before that, I had never known TNA existed because I didn't have cable anymore. I had to get rid of it because I couldn't afford it. But we get the I have to laugh. The Flying Elvises versus AJ, Jerry Lynn, and who was the one that was on their side? Low Key. Now, I knew Low Key as Caval in WWE. He never got very far because he was too rough for them, so they got rid of him. And the Flying Elvises won. Now, at that time, I believe one of them was Sanjay Dutt. The other ones I didn't generally recognize. I'm forgetting one of them. I know two of them. Next to Sanjay. There was somebody else that was there. I'm forgetting right now. I didn't write down who they were generally. But I do remember that in that first episode, Sanjay was there, AJ was there, Jerry Lynn was there, and Low Key was there. I don't remember the last two. So, this is what we got as the opening. Now, for me personally, I never seen it, so it was good to see it. But does that mean everyone is going to be fond of knowing that they just tuned in to now TNA Wrestling, that they just changed the website, they just changed the name on the YouTube channel. They're going by TNA Plus, and all we got is this. Next, we got the Battle of the Futures, which is Kaz and which is Chris Sabin. Now, I have seen this match. I did see it. In fact, I think I saved it on my drive. Because since it was something so important that they were talking about months ago, or last year, they were talking about it. That when Kaz, I think it was this year, Kaz came back, and then Chris and Kaz had the match, which should have been on a pay-per-view, or at least an Impact Plus to make it important. No, they had it on regular TV. I decided to get the original match that made them what they were. And hearing Don West was quite nice, along with Mike Tenay. This is without Jeremy there. As far as I can tell, all of the matches did not have Jeremy Borage there at all. It was only either Taz with Mike Tenay, or in this situation, Don West and Mike Tenay. No Jeremy Borage at all. He did the announcing, but he was not on commentary. It's not going to say it was a bad match because I've seen it already. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's not a bad match. It should be on YouTube. The next match was, they were talking about, they're teaming up with different companies like AAA on New Japan Pro Wrestling. So this was at Wrestle Kingdom. And this was at 2009. I've never seen this match. I've never seen it. So this was something new to me personally. I was curious because it was part of the Main Event Mafia storyline that I had heard about. So we had Kevin Nash, Big Sexy. We had, who was it with them? I didn't recognize the Japanese wrestler, but it also had Kurt Angle there. And who else was there? The ones that I did recognize, Carl Anson I recognize. I recognize A-Train, and that was, I forgot his name, but Bernard. I think it was called Bernard at the time. Ima Ishii, who was freaking young then. That was 2009. That's many, many years ago. You can see him with black hair, and he looked young in the face. But clearly, it was a young Ima Ishii. The Stone Pitbull, I like him. He was very different. That's why I liked him. He was not a big guy. He was like a brick. But he always had something interesting. The way he wore his, and still does, wear his weight belt around his back and stuff. So it was an interesting match to watch as well. I'm not going to tell you how it was. You're going to probably look at the highlights. They're going to show it on YouTube, so you'll see it for yourself. Just watch it. It was interesting to watch. Seeing an older Kevin Nash who was already gray-haired. Look at me. Look at me. I'm already gray. You can see that. But honestly, it's like seeing a Kevin Nash in TNA, which I never did see, like I said. When I came in, it was 2010. Is when I was able to get broadband internet. So, another match that I also saw that actually have saved Motor City Machine Guns, and this is 2010. Motor City Machine Guns versus Beer Money for the title. And this is where that controversy that came, where both Earl and Brian Hefner, and that is Alicia Edwards' brother and dad, were in TNA at the time. And they had that angle where both of them basically counted the pin from both either sides, and they couldn't tell who was who, and they had to restart the match. That is the second to last match. The final one was, 2005? Unbroken. I believe that was the name of it. And that was AJ, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe. Now, this is one I did not see. This match was very good, and it also spotlights, this is a very interesting thing. The music for AJ when he came in 2005 is way different than the music I heard when he was in there 2010. They have messed with that song, Let's Get Ready to Fly. They improved on it quite a lot, and I still like the original song. Not the first one, but the one I saw in 2010. Not saw, but, well, on the Titantron, that's the one I saw. Great match. But I'm telling you this. You can see the difference between AJ back then, when they first opened the doors of TNA, to 2005, to when he goes into WWE, because he cannot or does not want to do any of the stuff he used to do anymore. You can see the difference in AJ's build. He's a much more bigger, thicker guy. Like this, he's more muscled out. Compared to what he was when he was like, you could think of AJ as a light heavyweight compared to a near heavyweight. That's the way AJ is now. He was a light heavyweight, and now he's near heavyweight. You can see the difference in his body shape. Not saying his weight changed, it's just the way he looks. And I will tell you, it was very interesting. And I'm not forgetting about Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. I did see that one also. I actually believe I got that match saved on my drive. The only reason I didn't bring it up is that it was the only match. They didn't even bother to show the match of... Why didn't they show the match of the steel cage with Tara versus Mickie James? I think that is one of the best steel cage matches I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And they didn't bother to do it. So that kind of got me a little upset. I'm not going to lie. That match between Tara and Mickie James was the best steel cage match I've ever seen. It was damn good, but they didn't bother to show. They just showed one match, Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong, and they didn't even bother to bring Gail Kim in. This is what we got, guys. This is what we got. I don't even know if I'm going to show that video, that image of the QR code. I might not. I might not do it. But I'm going to tell you this. If we get another Best of TNA next week, I do not know how people are going to take that. This week, I'm sure there was a lot of people that was, well, this is something I've never seen it before. There's going to be some. And there's going to be the faithful or the ones who stopped watching TNA and finally came back because of them going to say, seriously? You're not going to give me anything? Anything new? It's going to be one of them. But this is just me.